Good morning, good day, good evening. I am, as always, your host, Brodie Robertson, and today we are back for episode 90 of Tech for Tea. Now, if I sound more congested than I normally do, it's because I am. For whatever reason, the weather is a mess today. It was hot in the morning, now it's cooled down in the afternoon. My hay fever is playing up. I've taken hay fever tablets, and it's just not going away. No matter what I do, it's just remaining a mess. It should be fine. If it gets too bad, though, I will just cut the episode short, and you will just have a short episode. But we should be fine, and whatever happens, happens. Now, I sort of want to get into my main topic sort of straight away. That being the whole OBS Streamlabs situation, or Streamlabs OBS, Streamlabs OBS, whatever you want to call this situation. So for anyone completely out of the loop, there is a project. That project, at least formally, was known as Streamlabs OBS. Streamlabs OBS, let's see if we can find the... Where in the world on their website is it even available? Is it here? Yes, it's here. So Streamlabs OBS. This is a fork of OBS where it's a fork of OBS. It's OBS with some extra extensions, and for whatever reason the game the UI is written in Electron. I don't know why they rewrote the UI in Electron, but that's what they did. So Streamlabs OBS it's that. OBS is what I use to record my podcast, my videos, I do my live streams. It's a very popular tool in the whole, streamer recording world, whatever you want to call it, because OBS is free software. Not just free as in it has no monetary cost, but it's also free as in the Libre sense. And because it's like this, there's a lot of extensions made for it, and it's a really easy project to work with. Now, Now OBS has been around for about 9 years. So OBS initially started as... It was on the... I don't know if this is where it initially started. This is the earliest that anyone could find a reference to it. This is on the StarCraft forums back in... What's 9 years ago? 2012. So this person made this new project. At the time, it was on SourceForge, and this was going to be to capture their StarCraft gameplay, because I guess... What would you have been using at the time? You would have been using either Bandicam, Hypercam, or Fraps at the time. And I guess they just didn't like any of the options that were available. So they're like, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to make my own. And they did. And then over time, that became the project that we know as OBS. So this existed for a very long time. Now, Streamlabs OBS came in. They've been around for a couple of years, and... they decided, okay, we're going to call ourselves Streamlabs OBS. Now, surprising absolutely nobody ever, the OBS team, they weren't exactly happy about that when that name was announced. So, at the start of Streamlabs OBS, they reached out to the OBS team, asked them about the name, and the OBS team were like, that's dumb. Don't do that. You're not doing that. That's our name. Why would we let you use that? They said, free real estate. We're just going to go and use the name. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whatsoever. And they went and filed a trademark. Now... this is a problem, because OBS didn't actually have a trademark at the time. They haven't been telling anyone this, but they did not actually hold a trademark to the OBS name. Streamlabs OBS actually made that trademark first. So technically, they are the rightful owners of that name, but when OBS put this out there, because this was also attached to another thing that was happening. So, Streamlabs also had another product known as Streamlabs Studio. And the website for that was literally a clone of another project called Lightstream. So, attaching this to that drama, it sort of just created this snowball effect of Streamlabs, you cannot do this. It doesn't matter if you're legally in the right. You are not going to get away with this from a moral perspective. even being completely legally within their rights to use that name. Once this came out, a lot of streamers jumped on board. Like, not, what normally happens with a thing like this, where it's just a bunch of small streamers who know, like, they have a viewer base, but it's not like, what their opinion, like, what they say is going to change the direction of the industry. But people like, I wonder if it's actually in here still, or if it's been shifted down. Okay, it's not showing up in here, but people like Pokimane, people like Hassan, they were tweeting about this, and I'm sure there are other really big streamers, some smaller streamers and smaller creators like Barnacles, Fruit, Bow, Ricky Berwick, Harris Heller, all of them were talking about it as well, and this was just spreading like absolute wildfire. So even if, from a legal perspective, if they took it to court, I think Streamlabs would win this. They weren't allowed to use that name from a community perspective. Like, the community around streamers would not let that happen, because what would have happened is basically their company was going to go bankrupt. Like, that's what would have happened. Because as this kept happening, if they didn't do this, other big streamers would be like, we're not going to work with this. And when the big streamers do it, then the little streamers start doing it. Like, the big streamers by themselves, they don't bring in that much revenue to the platform, because Streamlabs doesn't take, like, a cut of, like, the tips you get. There is a premium service it has, but I can't imagine the premium service is the primary moneymaker they have. It's probably more like people paying for, like, the premium extra features and things like that. And as you get the big streamers jumping off, the little streams will jump off, and then, then you run out of users. And when you have no users, well, then you have no business, basically. So they pretty much had to do that. Now, it's not just Streamlabs Streamlabs OBS that Streamlabs has. They also have another project, this one not being a FOSS open source project that a lot of people still were using, that being just Streamlabs. So, Cat, get your butt out of my face. So Streamlabs, what people are using that for is for things like their stream alerts, having like, oh, someone tipped, someone followed, someone raided, things like that. Those are the things that people were still using Streamlabs for. Now, I kept hearing about one of their competitors for quite a while, and I just never really got around to checking them out. But I recently did that because, I don't want to, like, even if I'm not using Streamlabs OBS, I don't want to keep supporting Streamlabs sort of, as it stands altogether. So the competitor being Stream Elements. Now, there are other things besides Stream Elements out there. I think I'm pretty sure there's like a self-hostable option. But I'm forgetting the name, and whenever someone's like, oh, stop using Stream Elements, they don't tell me what the alternative that is FOSS actually would be. So I'm going to probably be using Stream Elements going into the future, and it seems like a lot of other creators are probably doing the same as well. Stream Elements is a bit weird. Like, the interface is very different. The way you get things like alerts working are very different as well. So in Streamlabs, you could just get a link to the alert element. You didn't need the entire, Streamlabs overlay in your stream. Stream Elements, though, does not have that same functionality. So with Stream Elements, everything comes with, like, the whole overlay. So in my case, I don't do any of, like, my graphical overlay stuff. Like you're seeing on the screen right now, if you're watching the video version, I don't do any of that stuff through Streamlabs or now through Stream Elements. I do that locally because, like, there's no reason to have that sort of stuff, like, over a network connection. That just adds an extra bit of load on my network connection that I don't really want during a stream. It doesn't make any sense to be doing that. And if the website is down for whatever reason, then I would, like, not have my entire overlay working. And it's not a good idea to have your entire overlay be through a website. So I don't do that. I just have my alerts going through Stream Elements now. the only reason why you might want to do like the whole overlay thing is because lining up elements might be a bit difficult. In my case, though, I don't really care that my alerts are like slightly in the wrong location. As long as they're showing on the screen, it's fine. It honestly is fine. The other problem with Streamlabs is it sort of hides the fact that a lot of features it has are actually free features. It sort of encourages you to get the premium account when in a lot of situations you really don't need it. Like, there are some things that Streamlabs does lock behind a paywall, but a lot of the other stuff, it's more like, we're gonna hide the fact that this is not paywalled. It's like, it makes it look paywalled. It puts it right next to the paywalled stuff, but if you look just a tad bit deeper, you'll realize, oh, it's not actually paywalled. I can use this actually perfectly fine. So I'm probably gonna, I'm taking the Saturday stream off, so the Saturday before you guys see this, and I'm probably gonna just be doing all of my overlay stuff, just getting everything working the way that I want it to work, just so I don't have to deal with that, like, you know, when I go to do any of those streams. This week, I've been working with my gaming streams with, like, the overlay sort of half working. Like, alerts are there, but they're not YouTube and Twitch alerts. It's just the YouTube alerts. Or is it, no, so it's just the Twitch alerts, which is really annoying because I want both of the alerts. Like, it needs a bit of work. And it's slowly gonna get better, but for now, it's just not perfect right at this moment. But apparently it's been a sort of like a industry-wide open secret that Streamlabs has been a bit of a scummy company for quite a while, doing things like whenever a competitor like arrives on the scene, not just for like Streamlabs OBS, but for anything they do, they basically are going to go and copy that competitor and re-implement whatever feature it offers, whether that's like a Twitch bit notification thingy or like a bit cup, or if someone there's a thing where you can like have the emotes appear on your screen. Like, if someone uses certain emotes, then like they'll like spew out on the screen. And that was apparently a copy of like another project that existed. One thing people kept bringing up was a project called Unkabot, which is now known as the Streamlabs bot. People kept saying, oh, they copied that one or they stole that one. From what I understand, what actually happened there is they had purchased it. Like, sure, it's fine. It's fine that you think it's bad that they bought a project that you were using and now they've done things you don't like to it. But from what I understand, that one was them just legitimately buying it, not them doing anything sort of sketchy, I guess. Maybe they did sketchy stuff after they bought it, but like the purchasing of it wasn't the sketchy thing by itself. If that makes sense. Maybe I'm not making sense, but if that makes sense, that's what I'm trying to say. You know, because of my nose being an absolute mess today, there is absolutely no chance I lose the entire episode, because I'm probably gonna have to stop like 10 or so times throughout the entire recording. Oh, this is gonna be a fun one, that's for sure. So, ever since this whole thing came out, they've announced they're going to change their name. They haven't said what name they're going to change it to. Also, they put this statement out saying, "We are taking immediate action to remove OBS from our name. Streamlabs OBS is built on top of the OBS open source platform. Streamlabs is also open source, or Streamlabs OBS is also open source, and our code is publicly available." Yes, that is what open source means. We take responsibility for our actions and will support the community, which basically translate as, we got caught and we have to fix this. Basically, like that is how that reads. Like, no, you didn't act like, there's no mistake you've made here. Like, this isn't something that you're fixing. This is something that you were openly doing, and you stopped doing it because you got caught, basically, because you got called out for it, and you know, people realize that, hey, maybe that's something we probably shouldn't just let happen. Streamlabs stole my Animal Crossing amiibo cards and I'd like them back, please. Okay, there's also people just shitposting about this, which, you know, surprising, nobody ever. Yeah, that's gonna happen. I do want to make it very clear. Streamlabs did not steal any source code when it comes to OBS. Maybe they did something in other cases, but in the Streamlabs OBS case, Streamlabs OBS is a GPL v3 project. What is this hair doing? Is a GPL v3 project, and OBS is a GPL v2 project. Any of the like new UI parts in Streamlabs OBS, those are GPL v3. So the project is still a free software project. They didn't steal any code. They are, they are adhering by the license adhering to the license in what I can see. Maybe they're doing something I don't know about that, they're not adhering to the license, but at least what they're doing publicly, the way they're operating with the source code is perfectly fine. The problem that is happening here is outside of the source code. It is outside of the realm of the way the software is being licensed. And I'm seeing, it's kind of funny seeing like news outlets talking about free software and not understanding like the absolute basics of it. Or even just like open source generally, not understanding like the actual problems here. The problem isn't the code. Like, people can pretend like that's the problem, but it's not the problem. The problem is the trademark, and that isn't something that is protected by the license. And and OBS is very aware of this. They've made this fairly clear. Like, Streamlabs OBS has never done anything, against the license. This is just against the spirit of free software, to take a free software project and then, file a trademark as if the project is your own, as if it is something that you've put your hard labor into. And judging by what judging by what OBS has said, it seems like they've sort of never contributed back upstream either. They've just like taken the core of the project and then sort of done their own thing, and they're allowed to do that. But when you're such a big project, in some ways maybe bigger than the upstream project, you would sort of expect there to be some contribution back upstream, whether that is code contribution or even just like monetary contribution. Even XSplit donates to OBS. Like, that's how ridiculous it is. OBS gets donations from XSplit. XSplit is a direct competitor. But I think that's pretty much everything I can milk that topic for. So let's move on to something else. And before we get into like one of the other really big topics, I want to talk about something that, is basically just like, it's basically just a shitpost. And that is the Fortnite Naruto collaboration. Like, I don't know why this is a thing that exists, but yeah, there is a Naruto x Fortnite collaboration. You can get Naruto skins, and you can get like Naruto items, and yeah, that's cool. Now, I don't give a shit about Fortnite. I could laugh about this, be like, oh, how terrible. Fortnite and Naruto doing a thing together. They're both massive franchises. They're both, they're both going to do things that, make them money. Fortnite, for all the memes we can make about it, is a massive game. Naruto, a lot of the audience, fairly young. Like, this makes sense as a collaboration. What I want to talk about instead is some of the fucking hilarious shit that has been coming from it. Now, I'm going to have to mute the, wait, did I? Oh, it's in the Discord. I thought I put it into my notes. Is it under... No, it's under memes. Yes. Yes, it is. Okay, so... here's one good one. What? Okay, I guess I have to download that. Okay, I'll get my one, because my one is on Twitter, so I want to download that one. Don't play the audio straight away. Please don't do that. Okay, good. So I don't know what fucking dance this is. I don't know about the Fortnite dances, but this is Sasuke doing some Fortnite dances. Did you ever think this is something that you would see? An officially endorsed collaboration where you can get Sasuke to do Fortnite dances. But there's another fun one as well. Is that gonna play in my browser? No, that's not gonna play in my browser. What? If I take the video and I drop it into my browser, yes. Here we go. Okay, here we go. You gotta pay attention to the start of this one. So we're doing some fucking jutsu hand signs, and then gun. Man, I love this collab. I genuinely love this collaboration. It is honestly it is the funniest thing I've seen in a while. I'm sad that I cannot play the audio because the audio makes this so much fucking worse. Like, if you think this is already bad enough, it gets so much worse if you're going to hear the music that's going with it. Basically, this turned into a TikTok. I completely congratulate both the Epic Games team and the owner, whoever the license owner of Naruto is, for actually putting this together, because hey, that's cool. You guys make some money and you get to help me find some beautiful shit posts. Leave if you can find anything else on the Twitters. Oh, so you can wait, what the fuck? You can ride the nine-tailed fox. Oh, here we go. Here's the gunjutsu. Okay, so that's where that one came from. Okay. Oh my god, the Naruto one is so much worse than I thought it was going to be. Like, what is this run? What is this run? It's like they didn't even try to make that work. Oh my lord. What else do we have? Give me some other fun ones. Here's another good one. Sasuke may be out of chakra, but I hate our options. Oh my lord. Wait, what is this? What is this? Oh, okay, there's no fun without the audio. Okay, here's another fun one. Rasengan. Yep. This is a fucking gold mine. Okay, here we go. What is this? Like, what am I looking at right now? Oh, that's fucking horrible. Let's see, do we have any other... Goku after finding out that Naruto got into Fortnite. When you're the only one who didn't pick a Naruto skin in Fortnite. Yup, that judging by what we're seeing, that seems to be how this is. Oh my lord. I think this is dumb, and this is incredibly dumb, but like, the more I look at it, the funnier this is getting. Oh, gotta increase the Naruto Sasuke shipping for sure. So yeah, look, if you just want to laugh at shit and you already happen to play Fortnite, I'm not telling you to go play Fortnite, but if you already happen to play Fortnite, like, look, go laugh at some shit. Oh god. Sora made it into Smash Bros. Naruto is coming to Fortnite. Anything is possible. Naruto in Naruto in Sora in Fortnite. Kingdom Hearts Fortnite. God. I want it to happen. Make it happen. Epic Games, make it happen. Naruto and Fortnite is peak comedy. Here we go. Go start this one.
Go behind the rock.
Nope. Just fucking Naruto running. Like, I don't know what is so funny about Naruto running around with a gun and doing Fortnite dances. I don't know why this is so funny, but I can't. I just cannot stop laughing about this. I genuinely cannot stop laughing at how dumb this is. But that's enough. That's enough Naruto Fortnite. I've scared away any new potential viewers. Let's talk about something that's not Naruto Fortnite. That being the Linus Tech Tips Linux Gaming Challenge. Now, I did a video on this a while back. I don't want to talk about the challenge itself. Go watch my video. I talked about this for like, and I fucking called it. I talked about this, well, I think I talked about this in the last episode, actually. Yeah, maybe. There have been these posts going around that are like this. Linus Tech Tips actually led me to installing Pop! OS, and I love it. Now, this was obviously a fake post, because the account is deleted. Now, look, hey, maybe they just deleted their account, but I have seen this happen countless times. There are so many people making posts exactly like this, be like, I started using Linux because Linus trashed it, and that was my reason. Like, sure, maybe you did. Maybe someone did, but I really doubt, when I've seen, like, at least 10 posts like this, most people are actually doing that. I'm sure someone did. What is good coming out of this is the fact that a lot of developers, especially the Pop! OS guys, are actually fixing, like, the bugs that needed to be fixed. It took, like, a 14 million sub channel to get people to actually go and fix the problems they have. Wait, is the bug still here? Failed to install Steam. Haha. I think it's a different failed to install Steam bug. But yeah, this problem was in Pop! OS for quite a while, and it wasn't until a 14 million sub channel, like, put this video out, did it properly get addressed, and not just the Steam problem being fixed, but the problem, the more underlying problem, that it was way too easy for a regular user to go and just delete their entire desktop. Like, that's not something that you should have been able to do. Some people will be arguing, like, oh, I don't like Linux distros holding my hand. I don't like these. I'm just not going to use anything Debian-based. I don't want to hold my hand. Like, sure, that's fine. But you can disable the block they put in. If you don't know what the block they did was, basically by default, apt will no longer be able to go and delete any of your system packages. To delete any system packages, you need to go and make this config file, and then you'll be allowed to do that. Basically, it is protection in place to make sure that a new user isn't going to go and just accidentally delete their system based on some, like, packaging bug that happened. Because that's what the Steam issue ultimately was. It was related to a dependency for Steam not being available, so it reverted back to the Ubuntu repos and, like, downgraded some packages. It downgraded packages, so then the Pop! OS stuff was then out of date, or was too new for the dependencies available, so then it had to delete those, and it just all came crumbling down. I think this is a change that, honestly, most distros should have available. Give me the option to stop give me an option to stop the ability to delete essential packages. Like, you don't necessarily need to do that in a lot of cases. Is my cat trying to go outside? Mate, I literally just stopped recording like 2 seconds ago, and you couldn't have decided to go outside then. Give me 1 second. I will let him out. You going? You actually going? Go. Choo. Animals are fun. What was I saying? Pop! OS, something. Steam bug. I almost feel backwards. What have I already said? I blanked. I completely blanked on what I was saying. Right, right. Every distro needs this fix. every distro should give me every distro that has the idea of essential packages. Obviously, it's different on, like, Arch, Gentoo, something like that. But if you're a distro like Fedora, you're a distro like Mint, don't let your like, by default, don't let your users just delete essential packages. Have that protection in place, and then if they want to go and do that, they can go and add something in config file, or make a new config file or something. Whatever your protection is that you want to do. Maybe an option they have to run to delete essential packages, things like that. Because, like, if you're just trying to use your system, this is not a problem that should be able to happen. It was ultimately a dumb problem, and I feel like, I know people keep complaining about this when I say it, I feel like Linus has at least some responsibility to make sure he actually reads the warning messages that are appearing on his screen, and not, go and destroy his entire system. But I do think that this is a problem that had to be addressed, and it sort of only was going to get addressed until someone, or when someone this massive actually put a proper spotlight on it. I don't think Linux needs to be as complex as it is. I think there are places where you can improve the user experience, and we're seeing a lot of distros sort of realizing that, or deciding that now is the time to actually properly go and do so, and stop putting the problem to the wayside and letting it just crop up worse and worse later on. That, I think, is the best thing that's coming out of this. Getting distros to actually step up, and not just distros, actually, other software as well, just getting them to step up and actually fix their shit. But the funniest thing that's coming out of this is something that's been appearing in my comment section. There is this, I guess you'd call it a conspiracy theory going around, that the entire, like, Pop! OS breaking, Linus not knowing how to fix it, is like a conspiracy. It's like Linus did this on purpose. That's the idea that we see, that I've been seeing, like, that I've been seeing floating around. So here's one of them. Does no one else find it odd, of all the YouTubers to epic fail on Linux, it's one of the most popular and notorious tech YouTubers. Notorious generally has, like, a negative connotation, but sure, we'll go with notorious. YouTubers in existence. Over not reading a single prompt on a command line, and manages to completely overwrite a system that a 10-year-old could manage if not build. No. Clearly not. Clearly a 10-year-old couldn't do this because Linus deleted his system. I'm aggravated by the idea that Linus could have managed something like this on accident. It's not just fishy, it's flat out suspicious. Whoa. Oh, maybe this is on purpose. Maybe Linus he's trying to, maybe he's trying to slander Linux for views. Like, this is the idea that I keep seeing floating around. Linus is doing this for the views. Linus is failing this challenge for the views. For the views. Like, no, like, I don't need to explain why that is dumb. Or if Linus has a smooth sailing experience as Luke, there'll be no drama. No drama means no attention. No attention means no views. Like, why do I need to explain this to you? Linux isn't like this gold mine of views. Like, you're not, like, people aren't, they're not desperately searching for Linux content. Like, that's not how this works. Linux is a very small topic. All of the attention that Linux is getting is mainly from, like, outside of the Linux world. This idea that Linus intentionally failed to get views does not make any sense, because there's so many things that Linus could actually lie about that would get him views. He could go and be like, oh, Windows 11 is a good operating system. Like, just make a video saying Windows 11 is good. People don't think Windows 11 is good. That will already get people to click on it. He could talk about how the Steam Deck is going to fail, how it's going to flop, how, it doesn't make any sense in the system. Like, these are all things that Linus could actually talk about that would be massively clickbaiting and would actually be lying. Actually, well, yeah, no, look, Windows 11 can be good in some ways, but, like, the point I'm getting at here is Linux isn't this thing, like, Linux isn't this, like, super cool topic that everybody cares about. Like, that's not how it is. It's just not. This isn't a GPU launch. This isn't a CPU launch. This isn't an Apple event. This is running Linux and doing gaming. I think because of things like the Steam Deck launch, or at least, I guess, the now delayed launch, I think because of things like that, there is certainly a lot of eyes, especially not just on gaming, but on Linux gaming. Not just on Linux, but on Linux gaming. And that seems to be sort of replicated in the views that I've been getting as well. There's clearly more eyes in this space than there otherwise would be, but I don't think there's so many eyes that would get Linus to completely sell out. Like, I don't understand this idea that Linus is, like, this, like, he's trying to manipulate his viewers, like, that he's this, like, maniacal genius when it comes to, like, creating content. Like, he's just a dude. Like, I don't know how to say this, but, like, these are actual problems that exist on Linux. That's just how it is. Like, that, you may not like that, and you may not want to fix them because it might be good for new users and you don't want more new users on the platform, but this is something that, like, you know, legitimately happened. Like, this isn't something that was just, like, pulled out of thin air. Yes, Linux has actual problems that may need to be addressed and, you know, in many ways, don't properly get addressed. But, hey, people are going to have their ideas about what's actually happening. There's nothing you can really say about that. You can just be like, yep, haha, funny, 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 funny. That's great. I believe you. Okay, I believe you. While we're on the topic of gaming, of specifically Linux gaming, there was a Proton G patch that came out. Why did this get deleted as well? Why? Why did you delete this? God, I hate Reddit sometimes. Let's go to the Proton GE, Proton GE GitHub, because that's actually going to be useful. So Proton GE, custom version of Proton, we all know what it is. They released an updated version. This is 6.21-G-2. The reason why they released this is this problem here. To prevent people from running Destiny 2 so they won't be banned. Basically, it's just not, it literally will not let you try to run it. Because apparently what's been happening, I haven't tried this because, you know, I don't care about Destiny 2, I don't own the game. What's been happening is, if you run Destiny 2, and because you're doing it on Linux and they haven't set up BattleEye to work properly because they're fucking lazy, it's been a couple months already, you just get banned. You just get banned. It just, yeah, so clearly they have their, like, they have their server-side anti-cheat detection working fine. It's the client-side stuff that's, like, not working. So if it detects a client running that doesn't have anti-cheat running, it just kills it straight away. I presume the exact same would apply if you try to run it on Windows and you kill the BattleEye service. But I might be mistaken about that. Maybe you'll try to recover it or something like that. But because it physically cannot run it on Linux, because they have not got it, they've not told it to run, yeah, it's just gonna ban you. So, as funny as a patch like this actually is, I feel like it's something that sort of has to be done to protect people from their own stupidity. Because if you tell people that Destiny 2 might work because things have been updated with BattleEye, they're gonna try it. It's honestly sad that Valve had to release a bug fix to prevent users from running Destiny 2 at all, so they would stop getting banned. Please, y'all. I hate y'all. If you say y'all to me, you try to get me to say y'all, I will punch you. Actually, no, I won't punch you. I'm just going to say that you're making me lose brain cells. Stop trying to run every EAC and BattleEye game every chance you get just to see if they magically enabled Proton without saying a word. Does Destiny 2 even work on Proton? Yes, if the anti-cheat worked. The game... Okay, here's the thing. Destiny 2 would work perfectly if the anti-cheat did work. That's sort of how it goes. If it worked, then we'd be good. One game I wanted to play... I wanted to play it when, I get to that point in the franchise, but I haven't played any of the games in the franchise yet, but I do own the collection. Apparently Halo Infinite does not work properly on Linux, because I guess even in the entire thing, it's just anti-cheat. No one's mentioned that, single player, the campaign works fine. So, clearly there must be anti-cheat running in the single player? Or the campaign, whatever. Unless the campaign's not out yet. Unless it's just the multiplayer that's out and the campaign hasn't been released yet. Okay, yeah, multiplayer's out. Okay, so cool. So that's how that works. Right. Okay, you can pre-purchase the campaign. So I'll be very surprised if the campaign is still balked. What usually happens with games like this is the case with the earlier Halo games as well, is that campaign works fine, and the multiplayer is always balked, because it's going to be whatever anti-cheat system they're using, and it's 343, it's Microsoft. They're not going to care to get it working on Linux, unless there's enough people on Linux where they can, sell it and actually make money from it. Yeah, the way I actually hadn't looked far enough into this. People kept saying it was broken, but it seems like it's just the multiplayer, and that's fine. That I don't care if the multiplayer is broken. I'm not a multiplayer shooter guy. If the single player is working, that to me is all that ultimately matters, and the single player honestly looks really cool. From what I can tell, it's basically Destiny, which isn't a bad thing. It's Destiny with a Halo skin. And that might sound bad to old Halo fans, and it might be. But from a purely, I don't care about... I haven't played the rest of the Halo series, just looking at Infinite as a standalone product, it looks good. I think when it comes to Halo, I've only played the... I've only played the first game most of the way through. I've never actually finished Halo 1. I've never played Halo 2. I think I may have played, a bit of Halo 3 at a friend's place, but I didn't own an Xbox 360, so, I didn't really get a chance to play that. And I didn't play any of the Halo games on the, Yeah, I didn't play any of the other Halo games. But I do have the Master Chief Collection, and I've been meaning to play it for quite a while. It's just, there are so many games on that list of Brodie has been meaning to play that I just never got around to playing this specific game. I only just got back into playing Shin Megami Tensei 3 again, and look, it's still a great game. It's just Final Fantasy 14, when I have free time, sort of takes up that free time. And honestly, I don't expect that to change anytime soon, because okay, so I recently hit level 50 on my my paladin job. I'm still in Realm Reborn. I think I'm at level I don't want to say any spoilers. But I'm at a level, I think 41 or 42 in the MSQ leveling. What's not too spoily? What can I say? We have gone. Yeah, Alpha Nord and my character, and also the engineer dude, have gone back to Gridania. That's all I will say. I'm not going to say why we've gone to Gridania, but we've gone back to Gridania after we did the raid to get the did the raid to get the thing that was in the raid. Or did the sorry, it was a dungeon, not a raid. Did the dungeon to get the thing at the end of the dungeon. After doing all of this stuff in Coerthus. Coerthus? Is that how you say it? I don't know. In the snow place. Anyone who's played through Realm Reborn probably can piece together like where I'm saying we're at. But I don't want to like, just in case there's anyone who hasn't played through Realm Reborn yet, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say too much. But I am honestly, the more that I play FF14, the more that I'm actually enjoying this game. Like, I enjoyed it early on, but as I get more and more abilities, I am really, really enjoying the combat. Like, I've never played a tab target combat tab target combat system before FF14. But as I get more and more cool abilities, I look, it's fun. It's fun. I recently unlocked Circle of Scorn. That is the first, I guess, damage over time ability a paladin gets. And man, look, having a damage over time ability is nice. I'm like, I want to try out other jobs. It's just, I really enjoy playing paladin. I genuinely enjoy playing paladin. I don't, like, I'm sure the other jobs are great as well. Some of them I don't want to play until I get not until I'm going to get a better connection, until the Oceanic servers are out. I don't want to do healer until I, like, have a good ping. Like, I'm sure I could get away with doing healer now, but I don't want to be responsible for party wipes because my ping was shit. Like, that's just not something I want to do. Paladin, I can play perfectly fine with a shit ping. I just need to keep an eye on, like, what my aggro is. Like, that's all I need to do. DPS, I could probably do as well. I know I can perfectly fine play Black Mage, for example. But I'm not touching healers until I have a... Like, probably until, what is it, 6.1? Is 6.1 when we get Oceanic? Whenever Oceanic's supposed to come out. Whenever... It's going to be a while away. But I'm also going to be at my new place by then. So I'm going to actually have a better connection anyway. Yeah, actually, no, you know, that kind of works out well. So I'll probably pick up, like, a white mage then or something. And see how that goes. But maybe I'll try out, like... Maybe I'll try out... I don't know, what would I try out? If I try out something that's not a tank. Like, I do want to go play... I really want to try out Gunbreaker. Gunbreaker looks like a really, really cool job. I want to try out... Honestly, I want to try out all of the paladin... all of the tanks. The warrior, the Dark Knight, and also the Gunbreaker. But... DPS, honestly, like, I don't know what I would play DPS. Like, I want to play Red Mage at some point. Red Mage looks really fun. And I want to level Red Mage, well, I want to learn how to play Red Mage for when I eventually go through hell trying to solo, solo fucking, what's the deep dungeon? The one we get Necromancer... Palace of the Dead. Yes. Palace of the Dead. Look, I am determined that one day I will get Necromancer. It's going to happen. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's going to happen. And I'm probably going to do it with Red Mage or Machinist, because that seems like... From what I hear, anything can get through it just fine. If I know, like, the leaderboards have, like, Black Mages on them. But Red Mage or Machinist seems like the most sensible choice, and that seems to be what most people tend to recommend when trying to go through it for solo. How long's it gonna take? Fucked if I know. It's gonna take forever. That's how long it's gonna take. But One day it will be mine. Maybe I'll have finished Endwalker by then, but one day it'll be mine. I don't think there's any jobs I don't want to play. Like, I think all of the FF14 jobs, they look fun in their own way. Even if, like, I'm not, like, dying to play them. Like, obviously, all tanks look great because I don't know, tanks, I feel like tanks are sort of, like, the easiest job to play. Like, I'm sure different people disagree when they, would disagree if they are maining other jobs, but a tank feels like what I'm used to when I play, like, typical RPGs anyway. Like, being a big, beefy dude who just sits there and just takes damage. Like, look, a lot of the time I play RPGs like that anyway. I think Ninja I'm going to not play until I've better connection, because I think there's some, like, timing-based stuff with Ninja. I think Gunbreaker might have some timing-based stuff as well. But from what I know, Ninja might be an issue with a bad connection. So maybe I won't do that. But there's so many fucking DPS jobs. This is why it's hard to queue as a DPS. Because there's so much fucking DPS. Like, look at this. There's 3 healers, 4 tanks. I guess in Endwalker, you'll have, one more healer being the, fuck, what was the new healer called? I know the Reaper is, one of the new jobs. Endwalker jobs. Why am I blanking on the job name? Sage. Sage is the new healer. But you know, it's an Endwalker job, so you won't be able to get it until level 80. 70? 80? 70. Whatever the level is. One of those levels. And then Reaper is a... Is Reaper a DPS? What is Reaper? Reaper's not a tank, is it? Yeah, DPS. Of course it's DPS. Why would it be a tank? That wouldn't make any sense. Because we need more fucking DPS. Because we need more DPS. You can never have enough DPS, and especially enough fucking melee DPS. There's certainly not... 5 of those is certainly not going to be enough, that's for sure. Oh, God. At least queuing when I do a healer will be easy, because no one plays healer. Like, okay, some people play healer. It's just, there's not... Relative to DPS, for sure, nobody plays healer. Even tanks have... I would say tanks have more people than healers playing them. This is just the sort of... I guess the general layout any game's gonna go through. You're gonna have most people being DPS, because most people like, you know, big dick damage. Then you're going to have people being tanks, and then lastly, you're going to have people being healers. The problem with healers is healers are generally a support job, and people don't like support. At least in FF14, when you're a healer, you're not just a support. You're like, you know, you're expected to DPS as well. And the Sage is heavy DPS from what I can see. Like, a lot of its heals are, like, related to DPS from what I can tell. And it has a lot of DPS, like, related abilities as well. So it's very much more a DPS-focused healer than, like, a White Mage. A White Mage, obviously, it still does DPS. It's just... The White Mage is your pure healer. Its main focus is on healing and, like, doing insane heals, like when the Gunbreaker tries to kill itself, for example. Ultimately, even if I don't end up doing, like, high-level raid content on every single job... I'm still going to be getting every job to max level at some point, because, look, leveling in Final Fantasy is... It's not time consuming. Like, it's actually really easy to level. It'll take, like, a bit of time, but, like, you just run your duty roulette. You do... Honestly, you don't have to do levies, to be honest. If you want extra experience, you do levies. And then you just play through the game, basically. Like, you just keep running dungeons, and you just level. Because once you get one job to 80, you get like the thing that boosts up your experience with your other jobs. I think you get one at 30 as well, just to boost things up to 30, but you get another one a bit later on as well. And I think if you pre-order Endwalker, you also get a thing to boost up your level as well. So there are many ways to like boost up your experience. Also, when you stop playing for a day, just like leave yourself in a town. Make sure you get the bonus experience for when you log back on. It's not a ton of bonus experience, but it certainly does help, at least to some extent. But like leveling is something that I've just not really cared about. Like, because I've been trying to like grind out my what are they called? My company seals. Like, I've been doing duty roulette every day that I play anyway, so like it is what it is, basically. I haven't been playing every day. Like, I usually play like 3 or 4 days a week generally. I don't usually play like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but the latter half of the week, depending on how it goes, I'll play like 3 or 4 days. Usually. And it's fun. I enjoy it. I do really enjoy it. As you can probably tell by the fact that whenever I get a chance to talk about FF14, I am going to talk about FF14. But, I actually hit one of the caps in the free trial. I now have 300,000 gil. You can't get more than 300,000 gil on the free trial. So now whenever I do any content, the money is just fading into the ether. And I'm probably just gonna, I should just get off the free trial, because there's some other things I want to do that I can't do on free trial. Like, I've been really considering joining a free company. Anyone who's not a Final Fantasy player, it's a guild. You can't join guilds when you're a free trial player. So I've been meaning to do that as well. And there's a couple of guilds that I've sort of got my eyes on who I know I'm gonna be able to keep playing with after the Oceanic shift, because they're both guilds that want to move over to Oceanic. I wonder if they're still in my search. It should be in my search history. No, I'll save the better one to second. One of them is the Oceanauts. Both of these are based on Kujata. Both of them are currently looking for recruitment, and they're just looking for people. Like, they're not looking for, like, any specific things. And I think that's cool. So they're just generally looking for people who just, want to play the game. No matter under what circumstances you leave it, home does not cease to be home, no matter how much you live there, well or poorly, welcome home. That is a mess of a statement. Like, I feel like there's some missing commas in there or something. But yeah, this is one of the FCs I'm looking at joining. They have currently 45 members. Their rank is 30 right now. Previous month they were ranked 45 on the server. So they've actually been climbing. They've been consistently climbing week to week. Probably because they're doing like a really big like member recruitment drive right now. It seems like a lot of the FCs that are moving over have been doing this. But the other one that I'm looking at, here we go. Which, just because of the name is a bit more... no, that's the one with the same name on Crystal. Here it is. The Monkeys of Eorzea. I'm very, very tempted to join the Monkeys of Eorzea. Like, do you not want to be a monkey? Do you not want to return to monkey? Because I would like to return to monkey. Also, they have a really great logo. I do like this. That's cute. I like any excuse to show a Gubo, whatever you call them. The big like flappy arm dudes who run. If you don't play FF, I'm gonna show you what it is because they're adorable. You're either gonna think I'm really weird or you're gonna agree with me. Look at this thing. Okay, look, the big dudes, maybe the big dude's not as adorable, right? Maybe not. But like, what if you get one as a minion? Look at that thing. It's adorable. How can you not love that? You get this from one of the MSQ quests, and I don't use it because I got a cat from the Gold Saucer, and I have a cat following me around everywhere. But like, look, how could you not love this thing? Also, you can get it as a mount, which is also great. I'm not sure where you get this mount, but I want this. Currently, I only have the I only have my Chocobo as a mount, sadly. But I will find where I get this, and I will get it, even if it requires me to like grind it out for ages. But this one also is just looking for people. They don't care who. They just want members. There are different places are looking for different things, but like for the ones that are just trying to like build groups to like move over to Oceanic, most of them that I've seen are they're basically just like trying to get members to join. It's not like it's going to be hard to get people to move over to Oceanic. Like, people are going to move over to Oceanic. It's going to happen no matter whether people actually like it, which should... It's going to... Honestly, it'll be nice because hopefully it means that there is less congestion trying to actually join the server, because almost every single day that I try to play there are going to be people in queue. I have not played on... I think the only day there's not a queue is like Wednesday at like 12 p.m. like at lunchtime. And that's only because like it's the middle of the day. But anytime after like 2 or 3 o'clock, always a queue. And the longer the night goes on, the longer the queue gets. And I think that's because you have all of the Australian players, the Oceanic players, all of just the general, like, Oceanic people, and also Asia. Like, all of Asia and all of the Oceanic people are on the exact same fucking servers. So, queues are expected. But moving the Oceanic people out into their own thing should definitely alleviate that. There are some things that I'm sad about leaving when I do leave to go to the Oceanic servers, because like I'm starting to get to the point where I recognize a lot of names running around the server, and look, it's gonna be sad to have to like find all that stuff again. But this is why I think it's important to go and join an FC before moving over, just so I don't go into this new data center, this new server with like knowing absolutely nobody. But like I'm gonna lose stuff like this. Like, if anyone who's just listened to the audio version, we have 2 players, Papa Chai and Godbert Mandeville. Papa Chai is literally always in the Aetheryte Plaza of Limsa Laminza. I don't think he plays this game. I think he just RPs. I think he does nothing but RPing and just sits in Limsa Laminza running like a dice gambling thing. I don't know if it's against TOS. I don't think anyone cares. Maybe it's fine. I don't know. But he does dice gambling in like the Aetheryte Plaza. And Godbert Mandeville, that's more of like a lore thing. This dude showed up out of nowhere. So the Gold Saucer, which is basically the area you go to do all your gambling, that is owned by, is the guy who owns it, is his name Godbert Mandeville? Or I know his last name is Mandeville. Gold Saucer, let me just check. Is he RPing as the owner? I'm blanking on it. Because the place is called the Mandeville Gold Saucer. Let's go to the wiki. Yes. Mandeville. Yeah, okay. If the owner is okay, so he is RPing as Godbert Mandeville. he decided to go and, start dancing next to Papa Chai. This sort of stuff, it happens on every data center, every server, but I'm gonna miss out on this specific interaction. But there are different things that happen everywhere. And I'm sort of just gonna have to see what ends up happening on the pure English servers. Or I guess they're not English really, because it is oceanic, so you're gonna have Southeast Asia as well. But from what I've noticed, even though this is so the server I play, or the server I play on is effectively the English server. And you're obviously going to have, Southeast Asian people in it as well. But what typically happens is you either have Japan, or you have Japanese, or you have English. It seems like most people typically just go to English when they're on Tombri or Kujata. But it will be interesting to see sort of what happens when we have our own dedicated servers. If we have, if one of the data centers becomes the mainly the Southeast Asian data center, but then a different one becomes the Australian data center, for example. I'm sort of curious, if that's going to happen, or if we're all just going to, merge together. I'm going to go wherever the FC that I joins ends up going, because I don't, I'm not playing this game with anybody else right now. The only other people I know who are playing this play on NA. So, it doesn't matter where I go, because they're not going to be on my data center. Yeah, I'm probably going to join the monkeys of Eorzea, just because I want to go around. Also, their tag that sits above your head is just monkey. So, that's just great as it is. These guys formed very recently. They only formed... What's the 7th month? 7th month is July. Yes. They only formed in July. When did the other guys form? Also July. I'm guessing they both formed after it was announced that oceanic servers were actually happening. That sort of makes sense. Well, of course, you wouldn't create something called the Oceanauts if... And, with your goal purpose being moving over if the servers were not going to be a thing. Yeah. I do expect servers to be a bit rough when they first launch. That's sort of how it goes with every sort of launch like this, but hopefully it's not too bad. And hopefully. That's all I have to say. Hopefully it goes well, and the RPers will find their own things to do. I don't care about RPing from my perspective, right? But they do sort of add a sort of flair into the server. Especially when they're people who always and do nothing but RP. They sort of add this flair into the server. You get used to them being there. You see them, they basically are they're basically acting like NPCs for a good portion of it. Especially when they're trying to play, not just play a character, but also play in character. It's sort of like they're just extra NPCs in the world. But hey, maybe Papa Chai will follow us over to Oceanic. It's possible. I don't know. I don't think he's in an FC, so maybe he could. Look, I don't know. I don't know what his plans are. If he just wants to chill where he is, but if he wants to move, maybe he's moved before. Maybe he actually has Papa Chai accounts on every single data center. And he's actually already he's actually just multi-boxing gambling. I haven't gone to any servers, any other servers, so I don't know. Maybe he is. He's just running this, massive gambling ring on the entirety of Final Fantasy XIV. Look, I wouldn't put it past some of the absolute crazy people who get addicted to playing MMOs. That's certainly for sure. I think the reason why I'm still sort of so early in MSQ is because look, Realm Reborn's great. People say, like, oh, Realm Reborn's the worst part of the story. If it's the worst part of the story, well, the rest of the story must be fucking amazing. The reason why I haven't gotten, like, to the end of Realm Reborn yet, is because I get distracted. Not just by the RPers, but by, I mentioned the Gold Saucer before. There's a reason why I mentioned the Gold Saucer before. I've been grinding out stuff in the Gold Saucer. I've been grinding out items in the Gold Saucer. I have a problem. So there's some mounts in the Gold Saucer. There's some glamour in the Gold Saucer. I've sat in the Gold Saucer by myself for like 3 hours in a day and just like going through gates. Chocobo racing. Chocobo racing is... I see why Asmon likes Chocobo racing and Chocobo breeding. It's not fun. It's not fun, but I keep doing it. And I probably would have so many more Mandeville Gold Saucer points if I weren't burning all of them into Chocobo training. But I am, and I'm demolishing all of the NPCs because there's nobody else playing Chocobo Racing. Every so often, I'll see like one person show up, and when another player is in the Chocobo race, all of the players there end up getting bonuses. But because my Chocobo is absolutely fucking jacked, I always come in first place. Like against the AI races, all of their Chocobos are shit. They're all shit. So yeah, I'm literally always, if I'm not in first place, it's like I'm in second place. And it's always funny watching another player come in because they usually have just like a regular Chocobo, and I've been here like fucking training this Chocobo. I think right now it's only on pedigree 2, but like I'm slowly making my way up through the ranks so I can actually pedigree the Chocobo, get myself better max stats, and I'm going to have the most fucking jacked Chocobo that you can find. Does it matter? No, because you can't use these Chocobos outside of Chocobo racing. But I'm gonna keep doing it, and I have a problem. I don't even know if there's like a title you get like down the line. I know there's a title you get fairly early on that I already have. It's called Chocobo Breeder. Racing. Let's see. Are there any titles you can get? Okay, this explains some of the shit that, like how you actually do it. Here we go. Gold Saucer achievements. Okay. Okay, no, here's a reason to do it. At obtain a new Chocobo with a pedigree level of 9 or higher, you get a Chocobo mask. You get a racing Chocobo mask. I want that. I've seen someone actually using this before. Look, I'd much rather a title, but I'm gonna grind my way to that one. What else can we get in Gold Saucer? Train your Chocobo to a rating of 285. Okay. We did get Bug Girl. Bug Girl I got a while back. Participate in 300 sanctioned races. I do not have those. Do I have the race barding? No, I should have the race barding, shouldn't I? I think I do. God, look at this. Defeat 60 NPCs at Triple Triad. Triple Triad is not a good game. It really isn't. And there's a reason why nobody plays it. But... Oh, you can get a penguin. Oh. If you complete 4 different Lord of Verminion tournaments with double-digit victories. What the fuck? Also, you can play Mahjong. But no one plays Mahjong. None of these titles are super great, to be honest. But I do want this mask. Yeah, the First Across is... That's not a cool-sounding title. But I'm still going to do it anyway, because... Look, Chocobo Racing's fun. I recommend you try it out. If you've never done Chocobo Racing, I recommend you try it out and just Just see that you hate it and then never come back. But do it because I want to get experience off of you. I want to make sure my chocobo's like super fucking jacked and I go up like 3 levels every time I beat you. I'm sure there's times when chocobo racing is a bit more popular. I'm sure like I don't know, maybe if people do like chocobo racing events and stuff, that would be good. But like as it stands, like you still get enough experience when you are doing it just with the NPCs, but it's not as much as you otherwise would. I'm sure it's against TOS to like fake players to get more experience and just put someone in the race. But I'm sure someone's also done it. Let's have a look at I don't know. Oh yeah, there's that. So okay, look, words. There's a reason why there's an entire entire wiki page on this, because there's so much shit to know. Most of it doesn't matter. Like most of it genuinely doesn't matter. It's more like, how do I get the absolute like optimal path through everything? How do I breed the optimal chocobo? Like, you can genuinely spend like hundreds of hours just going through the process of chocobo racing, chocobo breeding, and you're still gonna have shit to do. Oh my lord. Why do I do this to myself? But besides chocobo racing, honestly, like, doing dungeons is fun. Like, grinding out gear, going through the dungeon process is fun. Even though, like, the early game dungeons aren't super difficult, I still think they're enjoyable in their own right. Unless my connection decides during a dungeon, it's like, hey, I'm gonna not work while I'm playing the tank. And people just run in and they take the aggro and they're like, why is the tank not doing anything? And I'm like, I'm sorry, my internet is trash. So one thing I have noticed is I still, like, here's one of the things, stop that. Here's one of the things I had to learn to do. That was gaining my aggro as quickly as possible, because I noticed as I'm going through the higher and higher and higher level content, the DPS does not care about you getting aggro. They're going to go and get their DPS in as quickly as possible. So I have to make sure that I'm using provoke, getting the groups to like come to me, hitting them with my AoE before the DPS decides, I'm just gonna not care. I'm just gonna take all of this aggro for myself and die. Because I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen where they just get in front of the tank, me, and just like run ahead. Most of the time it's fine. Like most of the time you're gonna have the tank being like the leader of the party, but usually what happens, like when that happens is when it's very clear that I haven't run this dungeon before and I don't know where I'm going. And I'm happy for people to try to like show me where to go. That's fine. It's when people try to like jump in front of DPS that it becomes like a problem for me, because then I have to like catch up to them, get the DPS off of them before, or get the aggro off of them before they die, because it's giving the healer more work than they need. When you're just with like random groups, it can be easy to run into situations where people are trying to get through stuff like way too quickly. Most of the time, you're good. Most of the time, you're good, and they'll take it at whatever pace the tank wants to take it. But sometimes people are like, I want to speed run this dungeon. I want to get this thing done. Like, this dungeon normally takes 10 minutes. I'm going to get it done in 3. That sort of stuff. Usually dungeons take, at least when I'm running, like 15, 20 minutes, about that. Which is perfectly fine. There is one dungeon I've been... I or someone else has been consistently dying on. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's the one with the big spider scorpion thing. And there's a mechanic that happens in the mini boss before the main boss, that I keep dying on, and I'm not sure what the mechanic is. If I die again there, I'm going to look up the mechanic and see, like, what the hell's happening. Because I'm not noticing anything. I might be thinking about the wrong dungeon. So if it's not that dungeon that you, like, why the hell are you dying there? I can't remember the exact dungeon that it was. But there is a dungeon I'm consistently dying on. I'm not sure what mechanic is, like, happening that is causing me to die. I don't know if it's my healer just not healing, or if, like, I'm doing something wrong myself. Because there are some situations where I'm the one who's genuinely made the mistake. Like, I forget to put up my, like, defense increases. I drop aggro. I forget to get out of the range of, like, a boss AoE. Fuck, I'm forgetting the name of my abilities. FF14, Paladin. Final Fantasy XIV is now the most profitable game in the series. That makes sense. Let's see. I want to see Paladin abilities. Sheltron. Like, I will forget to put up my Sheltron. I'll just die. I forget to do... What's the other one? I haven't had a chance to really rely on hallowed ground right now, so that's not... That hasn't been, like, as crazy. I'll forget to put up, like, a rampart or something. Like, sometimes it genuinely is my fault. Other times, I'm watching my health bar, and I'm like, I am hitting everything perfectly. Everything's going exactly the way it should be for me, and I'm just watching my health bar. Tick, 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 tick. And I'm just like, put my Sheltron out as quickly as possible, try to do something. Get my Sentinel out, like, try to do something to not die here. But sometimes you just watch it keep ticking down just that little bit, and boop. And it's fine. If I die and I treat it as a learning experience. My time in this game isn't that valuable that I'm super worried about it. I'm happy that if, like, I die in a situation like that, that means that in a future situation, that healer now knows, okay, I've done something wrong here. Because usually most runs we have, there is one death. If there's any deaths at all, there'll be one death. And it'll either be me making a mistake or the healer making a mistake, and whoever ends up making that mistake is just like, wait, shit, actually, that's a big problem, isn't it? Usually you don't even have to, like, mention that anything went wrong. Like, I feel like most people are pretty good at working out when they've done something wrong themselves, I think is a good way to put it. Yeah. Which is, it's a good thing. It is a good thing that, like, it is a good thing that a lot of people I've been playing with are trying to just get better at the game. They're not just, like, you know, mindlessly running into stuff. One of the mechanics I didn't understand, for example, there is this dungeon where there's, like, this floating eyeball, or flying eyeball, whatever, and to be able to actually attack it and do damage to it, it has to be within the light of these, like, certain crystals. I didn't realize this when I was first doing the dungeon. I was like, why the hell is this, invulnerable all the time? We ended up dying once, and then this was one of those things where I don't think I would have, like, noticed it otherwise. Like, even though there was, like, notifications appearing on the screen saying the light is fading, I didn't realize what the light actually meant. I thought maybe it was, like, damage reduction or something. But when we died once, then one of the guys mentioned, like, yo, you need to get the thing in the light. I'm like, oh shit, that is what happens, isn't it? And then once that happened, then, like, it became really easy from there. I have not done a dungeon run while not being the tank. And because the tank pulls aggro, in cases like that, it's gonna be weird. Because, like, I've been used to being the guy who pulls the enemies where they need to go. So not being that one in control, I think would be strange. I want to do it. Like, I want to, as I said, I want to try out, like, one of the DPS jobs, but it's going to be a weird sort of dungeon experience. But I think it's ultimately a good learning experience, so you can know, like, to be a better tank, you sort of have to, or just really any of the roles, to be a better member of your role, you sort of have to understand the other roles and understand, like, what they're trying to do. I've been watching some videos about, like, how to play some of the other roles. Not healer just yet, but, so, you know, just one other role. But I can totally see why knowing your other roles actually would be, like, really, really helpful. Like, if you've played a DPS where positionals are very important, like being in a position behind the boss to do damage, like extra damage, then going back to a tank, you'll have an understanding of that and try to make the boss move, you know, as little as possible so you can easily get those positionals. That's one of the things I hadn't even thought about before I watched a video on how to play, how to actually tank better. I wonder if I can find the video. FF14. I think it was like, be a better tank. Be a better tank. Yeah, here it is. From Lynx Carmelli. 5 advanced tanking tips to make you a great tank. They call it advanced tips, but, like, honestly, they're tips that you should be doing from, like, the start of tanking. Things like, one of those things, for example, was, provoking mobs of groups of enemies, before they get to you. I didn't actually realize, here's one of the things, I didn't realize that, like, enemies acted in groups. I actually had no idea. Like, I literally had no idea that enemies acted in groups. Like, when you provoke one member of that group, you're going to provoke the entire group. Obviously, you have to, you know, get aggro on each of the individual enemies, but if you are the one who start the aggro on that group, then you'll start the, if you start the aggro on that group, then you will get aggro by default, and then aggro shifts out from there. So if you provoke a group from a distance, provoke is probably, I think provoke is the longest range ability you have, that will let you generate, enmity, let you generate aggro. So if you provoke a group, then you get aggro on you before the DPS has any chance to touch them. Then you run in there and you do a AoE, and then you pick up any extra DPS that, or any extra aggro that may not be on the table, or you may have not picked up already. And then you hold them on you, and you can just cycle through your enemy list and make sure you keep the aggro on you. Then you don't need to be, like, using extra AoEs that weren't really useful, and you can keep going through your GCD like you should be. Like, not wasting time doing your less powerful AoE attacks, just going through your main GCD. I guess one thing you can use to, like, get around having to do a GCD, doing a GCD AoE altogether, is if you're doing level 50 content, and you're, like, I'm playing Paladin, you do level 50 content, and you do a Circle of Scorn, for example. Sadly, I haven't had a chance to run level 50 content just yet. The highest level that I've run, I think is 45? I do have a level 50 dungeon. It's just the dungeon that was there, it was item level locked, and I didn't have my my job gear yet. My level 50 job gear, which has a much higher item level that pushed me over the bounds. So I had it sitting there, and I just couldn't run it. I need to actually go and run that dungeon at some point. I'm trying to remember what the level 45 dungeon I actually have is. Is it 45 or is it 44? No, it's 47. It's 47, that being, Aurum Aurum Vale is the highest level content I've done so far. There are two... Oh god, there's 2 8-man dungeons in the main scenario that I have to do soon. That's cool. I haven't done any of the hard versions of any dungeons just yet, because, you know, those are level 50 content. I am very excited. Very excited to do that, though. I want to see, what I realized I wasn't showing to you. I want to see what, hard mode dungeons actually are like. I don't know. It kind of just makes me excited to see what's going to happen. But we'll see what happens when we get to it. When I get to level 50 MSQ, we'll see. And then, you know, slowly progress into Heaven's Ward and actually then have to pay for the game. Because I don't have a choice then. When I finish Heaven's Ward, if I want to do Stormblood and then Shadowbringers, I sort of have to pay for the game because you only get the free trial up to the end of Heaven's Ward. So, yeah. Also, I would feel stupid if I keep running dungeons or keep running, raids and stuff, and I'm not getting my money. And especially then when I get to level 60, not getting any extra experience that is clearly on the table because there are higher levels available. Even though, obviously, when you get to max level, you're going to be losing experience when you do dungeons, if I know there are extra levels already available, then I probably should put myself in a situation where I actually can get that experience. But I feel like I've been talking about Final Fantasy XIV for way too long, so let's talk about a game that's maybe not so great. Oh god, I need to show you this. So GTA Definitive Edition. GTA Definitive Edition is kind of a mess right now. You know, there's the whole rain being a filter over stuff instead of it actually being a proper rain effect. Modders Not Rockstar have fixed the GTA Trilogy ugly ass rain. So yeah, the rain, here we go. The rain is literally just a PNG over the screen. It's not actually a rain effect. So when you go under a bridge, it keeps showing the rain. That's just not how rain works. But apparently there is a mod now that's fixed it. I want to see how this better rain looks. Holy shit, that's rain. Holy shit, that is just rain. This is before rain. This is modder rain. Look, there's you can even see the how is this something that was even allowed to be released with the game? Why is it that modders are always the ones that are fixing modern games like this? I'm surprised that modders are even working on it, considering the fact that, you know, Rockstar's been pretty openly hostile to modders. But I guess it is a GTA game, so you're gonna have modders working on the game regardless, even if some of the big modders are like, no, I'm just not gonna touch this. But there's another really funny one. So there is a store in San Andreas that you weren't able to go into. It was just a store that was in the world. It was a place called Tough Nut Donuts. It was a joke because, you know, I had an eyelash in my mouth. It was a joke because the game, you know, didn't have great graphics. So they're gonna sort of laugh about the fact, circles are basically going to be nut-shaped. This is the original. This is clearly a nut. The donut, you know, is also nut-shaped because, you know, circles are hard on the PS2. The Definitive Edition. The Definitive Edition. Okay, so anyone who's just listening to this, in the Definitive Edition, they made the nut a circle. Now, I don't know about you guys, but have you ever seen, a metal nut? They're not circles. It's fine that the donut is a circle, whatever. That's fine. But this is clearly not supposed to be a circle. what seems to have happened here is the person who worked on this basically were like, you know what? I've just finished the Blender donut tutorial. I'm going to go and make this donut. And they made a donut and like, this thing also is vaguely donut shaped. Let's just use a higher poly count version of the original, but still make it, you know, make it a donut. This is not how this is supposed to look. Just increasing poly count is not how you make your models look better. Like, that's dumb. Like, that's just not how you make a game like this. The original model, there was nothing wrong with it. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the original model. It was perfectly fine. Maybe you can, like, clean up the inside, for example. Like, I can totally get making the inside bit here actually a circle. That, it makes sense because, you know, that the inside of a nut would be circle. This is not okay. This is just bad. This is just lazy development and not understanding the material you're actually working on. Please tell me this is fake. This Fano be real. I refuse. In case anyone wonders what went wrong here, they literally did a subdivision smooth effect on the whole model. Oh, so someone actually worked out the problem. So they try to smooth it. Rather than smoothing the inside, they smoothed the entire thing. That makes sense. I can see that being the problem. Looks like the 3D version of... Yeah, the 3D version of Pixel Smooth Effect. This actually doesn't look... Okay, no, the more I look at this, actually looks worse. It's like such a dumb mistake that never should have made it. Like, this is... It makes it very clear that no one did QA for this game. The rain, firstly, obviously makes it clear that no one did QA. But things like this shouldn't have made it past the, like, artist phase. Like, that model shouldn't have even been allowed to be used in the game. Let alone, like, gameplay QA testing. Just QA testing among the art team. But, that bug has actually been fixed already from... Or fixed by a modder. Not fixed by the developers. Fixed by a modder. Wait, what? Oh my god, this is amazing. So, GTA 3, if you wiggle the stick left and right, so right now the car is a normal size, or I guess it's bigger than normal, but if you make your car, or if you wiggle your car left to right, slowly but surely, it makes the model bigger and bigger and bigger. That's a good example right there. Here's it right next to an actual normal car. Like, what is this? And it's getting bigger and bigger, and now the model's very clearly breaking because the driving mechanics don't know how to handle a car this big. Also, it doesn't seem like the hitboxes work properly either. Why the fuck are the wheels broken like that? What? Oh! Oh! It's not making the car bigger, it's flattening it. What is this one? I don't think I've seen this problem. If you play GTA San Andreas Definitive Edition on PlayStation 5 using first person while on a quad bike, you get cursed results. So for some reason, in first person, it just attaches the camera looking at CJ's face. What? 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 Like, all of this stuff is going to get fixed by modders. But it shouldn't need to be. Like, these are problems that, like, the rain problem. CJ, like, staring at CJ's face on a quad bike in first person. The car getting bigger. Like, the car getting bigger is something you would notice if you just drive a car in the game. Like, you don't need to do anything that crazy to make this bug happen. You just move left to right. Also, as expected by everybody who knows about the soundtrack problem, the soundtrack's a mess. GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition radio stations are missing over 20 songs. No more Raging Against the Machine, sorry. Like, I refuse to play the Definitive Edition if Rage Against the Machine is not in there. Like, I listen to the rock station. Rage Against the Machine is like, it's a big part of the way that I experience San Andreas. So for Vice City, Africa Bambata, the Soul Sonic Force, Looking for the Perfect Beat. I have no idea what that is. Herbie Hancock, Rocket, Ira Carey. I have no idea how to say that. Kate Bush, Wow. Michael Jackson, Billie Jean. Michael Jackson, Wanna Be Starting Something. Both of these are missing. Ozzy Osbourne, Bark at the Moon. Tyrone Brunson, The Smurf. Now, San Andreas is... I didn't play Vice City that much. I don't know the soundtrack as well. So it's not, like, as, you know, memorable to my childhood as San Andreas was. San Andreas... so we have... Tupac, I Don't Give a Fuck, The Blackbirds, Rock Creek Park, Black Harmony, Don't Let It Go to Your Head, Blood Sisters, Ring My Bell, Charles Wright and the Watts, 103rd Street Rhythm, that's a ridiculous name, Express Yourself, Fatback Band, Yum Yum Gimme Some, Gap Band, You Dropped a Bomb on Me, James Brown, Funky President, James Brown, The Payback, The JBs, The Grunt, Joe Cocker, Woman to Woman, NWA, Express Yourself, and the songs that I care about, Ozzy Osbourne, Hellraiser, Rage Against the Machine, Killing in the Name, Roy Ayers, Running Away, and Tom Petty, Running Down a Dream. I'm surprised no GTA 3 songs are actually missing. That's actually surprising to me. But, like, I instantly have no interest in playing Definitive Edition. Like, because of this. If you want to go and play the actual Definitive Edition of San Andreas, of 3, of Vice City, either get an unpatched version of the PC version and find some mods to do ENBs, but a lot of the mods now, you know, have sort of gone to the wayside because of, like, cease and desist letters. PS2 emulator. Just go play the PS2 version. Let's see if we can find how it looks at 4K. You can upscale the game to 4K. Obviously, the menus aren't going to be upscaled. But, like, this is how the game looked. This is the original game. Sure, if it doesn't have as many fancy effects. Any of, like, the weird artifacting you're seeing to do YouTube. Sure, it doesn't have the same fancy effects. And sure, the signage is going to look very dated. But you're going to have the whole original soundtrack. And this is going to be the original game in its original glory. No butchered soundtrack. No janky as hell fucking rain effects. Also, here's another thing. San Andreas, the entire game, it has this, like, weird hue effect everywhere you go. Like, all the skies have, like, this orange hue to them. That's completely gone in the Definitive Edition. Like, whoever did the like, color work on Definitive Edition didn't understand how important colors were in the original GTA games. GTA Definitive, San Andreas, orange hue. Here we go. Is this... Wait. What was this? The Definitive Edition made me realize, of San Andreas made me realize how great the original style was. Yeah. Like, that orange hue is what made San Andreas look like San Andreas. Even in, like, GTA 3 has... I guess it's more like blue and green colors. And there's always like this blue fog over everything. Vice City, I think, is probably the only one that sort of, like, except for the missing soundtrack, is the only one that seems like it's just a straight upgrade. Also, ignoring the rain. Like, Vice City, I think, works really well with the upgraded graphics. 3 and San Andreas, by the looks of it, seem like a upgrade visually, but a downgrade when it comes to I guess the the thematic look of the world, if that makes sense. Like, from a purely like poly count or texture resolution level, the games look better. But I think you can make an argument that the originals look better if you put a if you pay attention to how important theming is to sort of like to the world and to the story that's sort of happening there. I think is a good way to put it. Maybe you don't care about that. Maybe you just care about the improved graphics and that's all. In which case, play Definitive Edition, that's fine. But the more I look at Definitive Edition, the more I want to go back and replay San Andreas. I actually never finished 3 and I never finished Vice City. I should actually go back and finish both of those and just enjoy them in their original glory with their original soundtracks and just you know, have some fun with that. Play them at 4K and just enjoy my day. Honestly, like, if it's a PS2 game, just look. Play it at 4K on I look like if I look down like this, I look like the edgy kid who's gonna like he's wearing this shirt does not help either. I look like the edgy emo kid sitting in the back of the class when I look down like this. But yeah, go play the original versions. Or play the PC versions if you still have them. But the original PC versions have been removed from the Rockstar Store, so good luck getting them if you don't already own them. There are means that you can obtain them. I'm not going to go over those means or where those means may be located, but anyone who's following along with me, you know what I'm saying. You know where you can find these games if you really want to. Since we've been on the topic of games for a while, let's just keep on the topic of games. So Elden Ring. I'm so excited for Elden Ring. Elden Ring looks like an amazing game. But because there was that network test, and there were some bosses in the network test, people have found ways to cheese the bosses in the network test. So, there is a dragon. There is a dragon on a mountain. This dragon on a mountain can fly. It's not always on the mountain, sometimes it's just flying around. But this dragon is a little bit jank. By a little bit jank, I mean, it can kill itself. And it will actively kill itself. What it's supposed to do is, like... what it's supposed to do is, like, climb around the mountain. But I guess, for whatever reason, it can, like, get stuck on something. And then, whew, it falls down. Now, it doesn't look like a big fall relative to the dragon. Like, for the dragon, this would be like the player falling down, like, maybe a meter or two, like, height, which would be a lot for a real person, but in Dark Souls, you can do that perfectly fine. And, like, Elden Ring as well. But this is a massive height for the player. So, what I think has happened here is, firstly, the dragon can take fall damage, which it shouldn't be able to. It shouldn't be able to do that altogether. The second thing is I don't think they've calculated fall damage based on the model scale. I think they calculate fall damage as a global constant. So regardless of the size of the model, fall damage is going to be calculated the same way. So as if the player had jumped off of this, in which case the player would die. Every single case the player would die jumping off of this. So calculate the same way for the dragon, and, well, our dragon dies. And this happens. Every time. And this isn't a bug that's difficult to do. Getting the dragon to land up on the mountain basically involves standing near the mountain. If you go stand near the mountain, the dragon will just kill itself. Not always. Sometimes it'll, like, try to just blow flames at you. But other cases, yeah, you can get it to just jump on the mountain and it'll just die. And I love that. I genuinely love that you can just break the game like this. Like, Elden Ring, firstly, it looks like a really good Souls game. Like, it looks like From Software learned how to make an open world game just out of fucking nowhere. It seems like they're just bringing back all of their Kingsfield knowledge. Kingsfield? King's Quest. Wait. FromSoft, what the fuck is the... It's Kingsfield, isn't it? I don't get this wrong. Kingsfield, yes. They're like bringing back their like Kingsfield knowledge and putting it into a Souls game and just making it even more open. Besides being able to cheese bosses, which the fact that that's there already makes me happy because I know in Bloodborne, I'll talk about this in a moment. But this looks fun. I think From Software, judging by the network test, I don't know if the rest of the game is going to be like this. Judging by the network test, this is going to be one of the best games in the entire Souls series, without a doubt. I trust From Software, if they're going to put out a network test like this, that the rest of the game ends up also being very, very good. But where was I going with this? Oh, right, horse. The horse has a double jump. Look, every game, if your game has a horse in it, give it a double jump. I have seen so many cool things with this double jump being abused. Drag... See if I can I find it? Is this the one? No, that's not the one. That's someone just talking about the double jump. Oh, I can't find it. But with that dragon fight, the dragon's gonna breathe fire at you. I saw someone run at the fire and then double jump over the fire. Like, that's so cool. Like, that horse mechanic is such a fucking great addition, and I'm so happy they decided to do that. Like, every game, if you have a horse, give it a double jump. Just come up with some bullshit reason why the horse needs a double jump. It doesn't need to make sense. Give it a double jump, because double jumps are just cool, and let you do crazy shit like this. And I can only imagine, like, how bad the cheesing is going to get on, like, the open world bosses. Obviously, the dungeon bosses, they're going to be cheesable in the same, like, same sort of Souls fashion as always, but, like, the world bosses like the dragon and, like, there's a dude in a horse you see early on, there's going to be crazy ways you can cheese these. But I was talking about Bloodborne. I like Bloodborne, but it keeps doing things that annoy me. It keeps doing things that annoy me, and keeps... Like, it's not my least favorite Soulsborne game, but it is my second least favorite. It's very far above Dark Souls 2, but it's still, you know, Dark Souls 2 is the only thing below it. So I was fighting, was it like the guy in Canehurst? Is it Mart? What? Canehurst boss? What's his name? Marta Ligarius. You fight him on a roof, like you do with things like the gargoyles in Dark Souls, the Taurus demon? Capra-demon? What's the demon on the bridge? Capra-demon. Capra-demon, or is that the one on the ground? No, that's the one on the ground. Am I thinking of Taurus demon? Yeah, I'm thinking of Taurus demon, aren't I? Yeah, Taurus demon. You fight on a bridge like that. You can't get Marta Ligarius to jump off the bridge. Or jump off the building. I was trying for like an hour to get him to do that. I wasn't just trying to do it. I was trying to beat the boss anyway. But like, every time I got him to a corner, I tried to get him to jump off the fucking building, but for whatever reason, they give the enemy the wall. There is an invisible wall around the entire building, and you cannot push the enemy off. And it pisses me off because there are so many times when he chose to jump backwards and does not die. Just let me cheese the boss. Let me just throw the boss off the building. Sure, it makes the boss incredibly easy if it kills itself, but That's the sort of stuff that I play a Souls game for. I don't want it to stop me doing that. If I want to cheese the boss, let me cheese the boss. Like, it's just fun to see how the bosses in these, like, Soulsborne games can break, and not being allowed to break it really did annoy me. It did take me about 2 hours to beat this boss, though. For the first hour, I didn't... Someone's gonna laugh at me. I didn't realize you could break the sword that Logarius stabs into the ground, and then, like, fucking spears fly at you. I didn't realize that you could break that. So I was doing the second stage of the fight, getting very close to the end, without breaking that sword. As soon as I broke the sword, holy shit, the fight became so much easier. It still took me a while, but it became so much easier. I don't know how I didn't notice that. Like, you can literally, what's the word? Target it. I just didn't have my targeting on it. So what I was doing was, the second he placed it down, I ran up, slapped it, and then broke it, because I didn't want to deal with it. That did lead me to trading a couple of hits with the Logarius, but for the most part, it was fine, and I didn't horribly die because of it. One time I did. But most of the time it was fine. I'm not sure where we're going in Dark Souls now. In Bloodborne now, because Cainhurst I know is an optional area. I guess I'll just look up, like, I've just been looking up, like, area paths or area guides, basically, not like how to get through the area, but just, like, what areas to go to. Because one of the things I don't like about Bloodborne is because it's that Bloodborne is a very... It's great that Bloodborne is very interconnected. It's bad because it's very unclear all of the time where the hell I need to go. And I feel like Dark Souls 1 initially had this problem with, like, the first time I did it. When I played it a couple of times, like, the path made sense then. The game sort of did give you enough hints to work it out in Dark Souls. But right now I'm feeling like Bloodborne feels too interconnected. It feels like it's too easy to, like, not get to the next area because you just ran back to the previous area, but you're actually in another previous area. Oh, now you're in the new area. Like, how did I get here? I don't know. I don't want it to be, like, as sort of linear as Dark Souls 2 was, but I think if a Bloodborne 2 did happen, I think it could do better with giving some more direction to where the player needs to go. I think that makes sense. The other thing I hope they do away in if they do a Bloodborne 2 is doing away with the stupid fucking blood vial mechanic. Like, I genuinely despise the blood vial mechanic. I think it is the worst mechanic that was ever introduced to the entire Soulsborne series. So if you never played Bloodborne, or actually never played any of the Souls games, so every single Souls game has a healing mechanic. It'll either be like an Estus flask, a blood vial. Oh, fuck, do I know what it's called? An Elden Ring. They use the Estus flask icon, so it's an Estus flask. It's not called an Estus flask, but it does the same thing. Basically, it's a healing item. Now, in every single Soulsborne game, except for Bloodborne, when you die and you go back to the bonfire, you get all of your healing items back. Obviously, except for the ones, or you get all your Estus back. There are other healing items you can use, especially in Dark Souls 2, but you get your Estus back. It might not be as much Estus because you can, like, power up the different bonfires and something. Like, when you power them up, you get extra Estus, but you'll get your Estus back. I think by default, like, it's 3 or something in Dark Souls. Maybe it's 5. I don't know. Whatever it is at the start. Bloodborne doesn't have the mechanic. Bloodborne, you have the blood vial mechanic. Now, blood vials, basically, they function as, like, a healing item. They functionally work the same way as an Estus does. They're a bit quicker than Estus, and that's fine. They also heal less than an Estus because you have way more of them. You can hold 20 of them, like, on your player at a time. The problem they have is they don't regenerate. You actually have to go and farm them. Yep. So you either have to kill enemies to get them to drop, or the easier way is to just farm enemies that have a lot of blood echo drops and then buy a bunch of them. So basically, if you're stuck on a boss, what I had to do is I had to, like, go through all my attempts. I realized I was out of blood vials, then sit there for half an hour, farming out more blood echoes, so I wouldn't run out again. And I'm probably going to do the exact same thing, like, at the next boss I get, and every single boss basically has this same cycle. If you get stuck on a boss, you have to go and farm out blood vials because you're just going to run out. It's a horrible mechanic, and it never should have been introduced into the Souls series, and I'm very happy that it's not there in Elden Ring, at least for the main healing item. I think it's fine for a secondary healing item. Like Dark Souls 2. Dark Souls 2, you had an Estus, but you also had these, what were they called? There were these little gems you had. Life gems. You had life gems. Life gems broke that game because you could hold 99 of them. And that was just of the base life gem. You could get, like, bigger life gems. So, effectively, by the end of the game, you could have, like, 300 healing items on you. This is why Dark Souls 2 was, like, a mess of a game. It was one of the reasons why it's a mess of a game. But that's the problem it had. Obviously, Bloodborne had to limit that. I'm fine with it being a secondary healing item. If you want to have it so, like, you have Estus and then you have life gems, that's great. Or you have, I don't know, Hunter Vials and then Blood Vials. Whatever you want to call them in Bloodborne. Whatever makes sense in the context. When you go to Hunter's Dream, you should get all of your heals restored. I don't care if you like the mechanic. It is a bad mechanic. Like, It's probably the biggest thing that I don't like about Bloodborne, and it annoys me every single time I get into a situation where I need to actually use it. Because you might say, oh, it punishes you for dying a lot. That's great. Don't punish me by wasting my time. Like, make the enemies harder. I don't know, give them a new moveset, make them do more damage, make more enemies appear, make the enemies act more hostile. That's all fine. Make my weapon do less damage, anything like that. That's all fine, but don't make me, like, go out of my way for, like, half an hour, grinding out stupid fucking healing items because the developers decided they wanted to, like, not make them recover in this game. That, I think, is dumb. And I stand by thinking it's a horrible mechanic, and look, if Bloodborne wasn't such a good game, I would have stopped playing the game because of it. Like, it's a From Software game, and From Software always makes absolute fucking bangers of games. So, even though that mechanic is shit, it's not enough to make me want to stop playing the game. And you know what? I think we're basically at the end of the podcast. I have, let's see how many clips I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. You know, it's more than I thought. 10 was my guess early on, but 13? I think 13 works. Look, what I know is that even if, like, half the clips break, there's at least still a podcast there. So, you know, maybe it's a fine thing at the start of the show, my nose was a mess. It's still a bit, like, blocked up, but nowhere near as bad as it was when I first started. Now I can go, like, 20 minutes without needing to stop. I still can't do 2 hours because, you know, that's clearly not going to happen. But if I needed to do another, like, 20 or 30 minutes, I absolutely could. But I think, is there anything else I want to talk about today? Let's see. Anything else that important? Oh, I wanted to get into some Steam Deck stuff, but I completely forgot about that. I guess we'll hold that off until next week. And, yeah. Yeah, the only other thing that I want to mention, just briefly mention, is that Twitter is releasing a new API, Twitter API v2, and according to them, it's for the decentralized future. I will believe that Twitter will be decentralized when they actually are decentralized. They can keep saying, we're going to be decentralized, this and that. I'm not going to believe it until they fucking do it. Because they're never going to do it. It's not going to happen. Like, when they say decentralized, they're going to mean decentralized, like, clients. Oh, you can use third-party clients, but connect to our centralized service. Like, that's not decentralized. when they become decentralized to the level of something like the Fediverse, even just like hinting at doing that, I'll believe them. I'll believe them then. But until that happens, I don't care. But hey, better APIs are good, especially if the API is coming with better support for third-party clients and not trying to make them as shit. I do use TweetDeck, which is the third-party client made by Twitter, or owned by Twitter at least now. It used to not be, but then Twitter bought them. But for some reason, never got rid of the main Twitter interface. Like, they have TweetDeck, which is the good Twitter, and then Twitter, which is the shit Twitter. I guess if you're used to the main Twitter interface, you wouldn't want it to go over to TweetDeck, but TweetDeck is sort of amazing if you're a creator, you have multiple accounts, or for whatever reason, maybe you're a troll on the internet or something, whatever reason you need to have multiple accounts, TweetDeck is honestly great for that, and there's no way I could go back to the main Twitter client. Occasionally, I'll go to it to, like, look at a tweet, because TweetDeck doesn't always show, like, all the replies, but then I have to gouge my eyes out because I realize how just god-awful it is to use. But anyway, that's enough complaining about Twitter. I think that's going to be pretty much it for me today. Let's see if there's anything that you guys should go and watch. What's going to be on my... Sure, yep, you know what? Go watch Fairbairn Films. They're South Australians, and uploaded a video today called Smoking Crack. And with selling weed the day before, and a few days earlier, buying coke. I don't know what the fuck they're doing right now, but these videos are all great. I haven't seen the newest one, but I guarantee it's going to be great anyway. So yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for me. I do have an episode with Donald Fury happening soon-ish, maybe next week, maybe the week after, whenever I get around to doing it. And yeah, guests are happening. And then I'll go back to solo episodes, because I'm lazy and don't feel like finding guests. Also just lets me rant for 2 hours, so that's also fun. But anyway, that's gonna be it for me. Check out my podcast. This is the podcast. Podcast, audio version, anywhere. Video version, YouTube and Odyssey. Gaming channel, Brodie Robertson Plays. Twice a week, 5 YouTube shorts, and also I have, what do I have? I have my main channel, where I upload Linux videos, and they are doing stupidly well right now. I've gotten 53,000 views in the past 48 hours, which is, like, 5 times what I was getting a few months back. I don't know why it's popping off so much, but it's popping off. So, that's gonna be it for me, and I think this is the last clip now. I'm out. That's how we're going to end it, I guess.